Hey everyone, welcome back to Switch Top. Today we're diving into 20 Nintendo Switch games that you absolutely need to experience at least once. These aren't just good games, these are the ones that'll stick with you long after you put down your Switch. Whether you're into action, platformers, or something totally different, this list has something that'll blow your mind. Let's jump right in. Vampire Survivors is pure chaos in the best way possible. You control a character who automatically attacks, while you focus entirely on dodging endless waves of monsters in this roguelike bullet heaven game. Every run lasts up to 30 minutes, and during that time, you're constantly leveling up and choosing from random weapon and power-up combinations that can turn you into an unstoppable force. The gameplay loop is addictive. You start weak, barely surviving the first few minutes, but by the end, you're creating screen-clearing explosions of destruction. There's minimal story here, just you trying to survive against hordes inspired by classic horror. The progression system unlocks new characters, weapons, and stages that completely change how you approach each run. Despite its simple pixel graphics, the game runs flawlessly on Switch, in both handheld and docked mode. What starts as just one more run easily turns into hours of experimentation, as you discover devastating synergies between weapons and items that make each playthrough feel completely different from the last. Hollow Knight Silksong puts you in control of Hornet, the agile warrior from the original game, as she wakes up in a strange new kingdom called Farloom. Captured and brought to this unfamiliar land, Hornet must ascend from the depths to reach the top while uncovering the mysteries of this insect kingdom. The combat is faster and more aggressive than the first game. Hornet uses a needle and thread instead of a nail, allowing for quick strikes and aerial mobility that feels completely different from playing as the knight. You'll explore interconnected areas filled with challenging enemies, intricate platforming sections, and massive boss fights that test your skills. The game features a new mechanic called Bind, where you can equip different tools and abilities to customize Hornet's moveset. As you progress, you'll discover new areas that open up as you gain abilities like wall running and special thread techniques. The hand-drawn art style is absolutely gorgeous, with each region having distinct visual themes and atmospheric music that pulls you deeper into Farloom's world. Shogun Showdown is a brilliant turn-based roguelike where positioning is everything. You play as a wandering samurai, moving through a grid-based battlefield, planning your attacks while enemies telegraph their moves one turn ahead. The core mechanic revolves around managing your action tiles. These determine what you can do each turn, from attacking to moving to using special abilities. Between battles, you'll recruit new tiles to add to your deck, creating powerful combinations that can chain attacks together or reposition enemies into devastating traps. There's no deep story here, just a straightforward quest for revenge against those who wronged you, told through minimal but effective dialogue. The genius is in how every decision matters. Do you attack now, or reposition for a better angle next turn? The pixel art style is clean and readable, making it easy to plan your moves, even when the screen fills with enemies. Each run introduces new tile combinations and enemy types, and the difficulty scales perfectly as you unlock harder paths and challenges that demand mastery of the positioning mechanics. The Messenger starts as a straightforward ninja platformer, but evolves into something way more ambitious. You're a young ninja tasked with delivering a scroll to save your village from a demon attack, beginning a journey that takes you through hostile territory filled with deadly traps and monsters. The controls are incredibly tight. You can run, jump, attack with your sword, and use the cloud step mechanic, which lets you jump again whenever you strike something in midair, including projectiles and lanterns. This creates a rhythmic flow to the platforming, where you're constantly bouncing off objects to maintain momentum. About halfway through, the game introduces a time travel mechanic that shifts you between 8-bit and 16-bit versions of the same levels, completely changing the layout, obstacles, and visual style. Each timeline has different challenges and secrets, and you'll need to master both to progress. The humor is genuinely funny, with a shopkeeper who constantly breaks the fourth wall. The soundtrack is phenomenal, with each area having both an 8-bit and 16-bit version of its theme. Ori and the Blind Forest tells the story of a small guardian spirit named Ori, who must restore a dying forest after a tragic event kills the spirit tree's light. Raised by a creature named Naru, Ori sets out on a journey to recover the forest's lost elements and save the land from decay. The platforming mechanics are built around fluidity and momentum. Ori can wall jump, air dash, and use bash, which lets you launch off enemy projectiles and objects in any direction you choose. This bash mechanic is the heart of the game's most thrilling sequences, creating puzzle platforming challenges where you're redirecting multiple projectiles to navigate seemingly impossible sections. The ability tree lets you customize Ori's skills, unlocking new combat moves and traversal abilities. The difficulty can be punishing, with some escape sequences requiring perfect timing and quick reflexes, but the game autosaves frequently. The hand-painted art style is breathtaking, and the orchestral score enhances every emotional beat of the story. Combat is simple but effective, keeping the focus on exploration and platforming. Super Mario Odyssey sends Mario on a globe-trotting adventure to stop Bowser from marrying Princess Peach against her will. Teaming up with Cappy, a sentient hat whose sister was also kidnapped, Mario gains the revolutionary capture ability that lets him possess enemies and objects by throwing Cappy at them. This mechanic completely redefines what a 3D Mario game can be. You can become a T-Rex to smash through obstacles, a Bullet Bill to fly across chasms, a Goomba to stack with others and reach high places, or even a tank to blast through walls. Each of the game's kingdoms is a massive sandbox filled with power moons to collect, ranging from obvious platforming challenges to obscure secrets that reward creative thinking. The controls are incredibly responsive, with Mario's expanded moveset including new jumps and movement tricks that speedrunners and casual players alike can enjoy. After completing the main story, the game opens up with significantly harder post-game challenges that test your mastery of the mechanics. The kingdoms are wildly diverse, from the realistic humans of New Donk City to the food-themed Fort Kingdom, each with unique gameplay gimmicks. Dead Cells is a roguelike Metroidvania where you control a reanimated corpse exploring a sprawling, ever-changing island prison. You're trying to escape this cursed place while uncovering what happened to the kingdom and why you keep coming back to life after every death. The combat is fast and aggressive. You equip 2 main weapons and 2 special items from a massive pool of possibilities, each with different stats, special effects, and synergies. The game rewards aggressive play with kill streaks that multiply your damage, but one hit can break your streak, creating a risk-reward dynamic that keeps combat tense. Between runs, you'll unlock permanent progression through blueprints that add new weapons and abilities to the pool, plus runes that grant permanent traversal abilities, opening up new paths through levels. The branching level structure means each run can take different routes, with harder paths offering better rewards but more dangerous enemies. The game's difficulty system scales through boss cells, which you earn by beating the final boss, and can activate to make subsequent runs significantly harder with better loot. NieR Automata takes place in a post-apocalyptic future where humanity has fled to the moon while machines controlled by alien invaders have conquered Earth. You play as 2B, an android soldier sent by humanity's last remnants to reclaim the planet by fighting these machines alongside your support unit, 9S. The combat system blends fast, hack-and-slash action with bullet hell elements, you're dodging patterns of projectiles, while performing combo attacks with light and heavy weapons that you can equip in various loadouts. Your pod companion provides ranged attacks and support abilities that you can switch between for different tactical situations. The game's structure is unconventional. Completing the story once is just the beginning, as subsequent playthroughs show different perspectives and reveal narrative layers that completely recontextualize everything you thought you understood. The open world is filled with side quests that explore surprisingly philosophical themes about consciousness, purpose, and what it means to be alive. You can hack certain enemies to take control of them, or access bullet hell minigames that reveal story details.
What? It's just accessing random, nonsensical data from the old world. There's no actual meaning behind anything.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is set in Ionios, a world where two nations, Keves and Agnes, are locked in endless war. Soldiers from both sides have 10-year lifespans and fight to collect enemy life energy in a cycle that seems eternal. You control 6 characters, 3 from each nation, who become interlinked after a battle goes wrong, discovering they can fuse into powerful Ouroboros forms. This connection lets them see that both sides are being manipulated, sending them on a journey to uncover the truth behind their world's conflict. The real-time combat system lets you control one character while the AI handles the others, using a class system where characters can learn abilities from different roles, like attacker, defender, and healer. The Ouroboros fusion mechanic transforms 2 characters into massive forms, with unique movesets and powerful abilities for limited time. The world is absolutely massive, with distinct regions ranging from mechanical landscapes to lush forests, each filled with high-level monsters, secret areas, and meaningful side quests that develop the large cast of characters. The story tackles heavy themes about mortality, purpose, and breaking free from predetermined fate across a 100+ hour campaign. Balatro is a poker roguelike that turns the classic card game into something completely fresh and addictive. You're trying to beat increasingly difficult blinds by making poker hands, but here's where it gets wild. You can modify your deck, upgrade specific cards, and collect jokers that fundamentally break the rules of poker in your favor. Each joker has unique effects, like multiplying your score when you play certain suits, adding chips for cards you discard, or triggering special abilities when you make specific hands. Between rounds, you visit a shop where you can buy new jokers, upgrade cards to increase their value, or use tarot cards and planet cards to permanently buff specific poker hands. The strategy comes from building synergies. Maybe you focus on making flushes and collect jokers that reward playing single suits, or you build around pairs and get jokers that multiply when you have duplicates. There's no story, just pure mechanical depth as you try different strategies across multiple difficulty stakes. The game introduces new deck types that start with modified rules and challenge runs that add restrictions, forcing you to adapt your usual strategies. Super Meat Boy is one of the most brutally difficult platformers ever made, but it's designed so well that you'll keep coming back despite dying hundreds of times per level. You play as Meat Boy, a small cube of meat trying to rescue his girlfriend Bandage Girl from the evil Dr. Fetus across over 300 levels of saw blades, salt, and instant death. The controls are incredibly tight and responsive. You can run, jump, and wall slide with pixel-perfect precision, which is essential because levels require frame-perfect timing and quick reflexes. Each level is a short gauntlet that usually takes 10 to 30 seconds to complete if you nail it, but you'll retry dozens of times, learning the patterns and timing. The game has zero loading between deaths, so you instantly respawn and try again, creating an addictive loop where failure never feels like a punishment. There are Dark World versions of every level that are even harder, plus hidden warp zones that challenge you with retro-styled bonus levels. The game unlocks alternative characters with unique abilities as you progress, adding variety to how you approach challenges. It's tough as nails, but fair, and beating a level you've struggled with for 20 minutes gives you an unmatched rush of satisfaction. Celeste is a precision platformer that uses its challenging gameplay to tell a beautiful story about overcoming anxiety and self-doubt. You play as Madeline, a young woman determined to climb Celeste Mountain, despite her inner demons literally manifesting as a dark reflection of herself that tries to stop you. The core mechanics are simple but deep. You can jump, climb walls briefly, and perform one air dash per jump that recharges when you touch the ground or certain objects. These basic moves combine to create incredibly complex platforming puzzles that demand perfect timing and creative problem solving. Each chapter introduces new mechanics, like moving blocks, wind currents, or feathers that let you fly in any direction, keeping the challenges fresh throughout. The game has an assist mode that lets you adjust game speed, give yourself infinite stamina, or even become invincible, making it accessible without compromising the experience for those who want the challenge. The pixel art is gorgeous, with expressive character animations, and the soundtrack by Lena Raine is phenomenal. Collectible strawberries add optional, harder challenges, and B-side levels unlock brutally difficult remixes of each chapter for players seeking the ultimate test of their skills. Pikmin 4 perfects Nintendo's unique real-time strategy series, where you command armies of tiny plant creatures to solve puzzles and overcome obstacles on an alien planet. You play as a customizable rescue team member, searching for Captain Olimar and other castaways, commanding different colored Pikmin that each have special abilities. Red Pikmin resist fire, blue can survive underwater, yellow conduct electricity, and new ice Pikmin can freeze enemies and water. The game introduces Ochi, your loyal space dog companion who can carry Pikmin, break down barriers, and even let you ride him across water, completely changing how you approach challenges. During the day, you'll explore detailed environments, collecting treasures, building your Pikmin army, and rescuing stranded explorers, while managing your time before sunset when nocturnal predators emerge. Night expeditions are a new mode where you defend a base against waves of enemies using glowing Pikmin, adding a tower defense element. The caves return from Pikmin 2, offering multi-floor challenges with no time limit, where you can really experiment with different Pikmin strategies. Bayonetta 3 is pure stylish action chaos, where you play as the witch Bayonetta, fighting to stop interdimensional creatures from destroying multiple realities. The story involves variants of Bayonetta from different universes teaming up to face a threat called the Homunculi, with reality hopping creating wild scenarios and massive set pieces. The combat system is built around dodging at the last second to trigger witch time, slowing down enemies so you can unleash devastating combos with your equipped weapons. You can equip different weapons on your hands and feet, mixing and matching to create unique movesets and combo possibilities. The new Demon Slave mechanic lets you summon and directly control massive demons like Gamora or Madama Butterfly during battle, turning fights into kaiju-sized brawls where you're punching skyscrapers and demolishing enemies. Each chapter features multiple playable characters, including newcomer Viola, who has her own combat style focused on parrying instead of dodging. The game is spectacle overload, with screen-filling boss fights, dramatic cutscenes, and action sequences that constantly escalate. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is one of the best 2D platformers ever made, offering perfectly designed levels that reward both casual play and speedrunning mastery. The story has the Snowmads, a group of Arctic invaders, freezing Donkey Kong Island and forcing DK and his friends to fight across 6 unique worlds to reclaim their home. You can play as Donkey Kong solo or team up with Diddy, Dixie, or Cranky Kong, each offering different abilities like Diddy's jetpack hover, Dixie's ponytail spin for extended airtime, or Cranky's cane pogo that lets you bounce on spikes. The level design is genius, with multiple paths through each stage that hide puzzle pieces and Kong letters for completionists, while speedrunners can find shortcuts and momentum tricks. The platforming demands precision, with rolling, bouncing, ground pounding, and swinging from vines, all while enemies and environmental hazards keep you on your toes. Boss fights are creative, multi-phase encounters that test your pattern recognition and reflexes. The visuals are stunning, with lush environments and expressive animations, and David Wise's soundtrack is legendary, with tracks that perfectly complement each world's theme. Hades 2 continues Supergiant roguelike excellence by putting you in control of Melinoe, princess of the underworld, and sister to the first game's Zagreus, as she attempts to defeat the titan Kronos, who has taken over the House of Hades. The story unfolds through interactions with Greek gods and mythological figures, as you make repeated escape attempts from the underworld, with each death revealing more about Melinoe's mission and the complex relationships between the gods. The combat system builds on the original, with faster, more aggressive gameplay, where Melinoe wields multiple weapons like staves and ritualistic daggers, each with distinct movesets and playstyles. The boon system returns, where Olympian gods grant you power-ups during runs, but now you can also gather resources to cast magical rituals that provide persistent buffs or unlock new story paths. The areas you fight through are more varied than the first game, including surface locations and new regions of the underworld with different enemy types and environmental hazards. Between runs, you'll upgrade your abilities, deepen relationships with NPCs through gift giving, and unlock new aspects of your weapons.
They're slowing down.
Ball X Pit is a fast, addictive blend of arcade action, roguelike progression, and light base building that feels instantly familiar yet surprisingly strategic. The core gameplay revolves around defending the bottom of a vertical pit as waves of enemies descend, using auto-fired balls that ricochet across the arena, turning physics and positioning into your main tools for survival. Every bounce matters, encouraging smart angles and crowd control rather than simple reflexes. Defeated enemies drop gems that trigger level-ups mid-run, letting you choose upgrades, unlock new ball types, and fuse projectiles into stronger, synergistic forms that dramatically change how each run plays out. Different characters introduce distinct traits and starting setups, pushing experimentation and replayability. Between runs, the game shifts into a satisfying meta layer, where resources are used to rebuild a ruined city above the pit, unlocking new characters, bonuses, and long-term upgrades that steadily expand your options. Storytelling is intentionally light, using humor, environmental details, and playful lore to frame your descent into the pit, rather than drive it. Donkey Kong Bananza reimagines the Donkey Kong formula through expansive 3D platforming built around freedom, momentum, and highly interactive environments. The game's standout mechanic is its destructible terrain, allowing Donkey Kong to punch through walls, tear apart ground layers, climb surfaces, and dig tunnels to uncover hidden paths, collectibles, and Banandium gems that fuel permanent ability upgrades. Levels are designed as dense, vertical playgrounds rather than straight paths, encouraging experimentation and creative traversal instead of rigid solutions. Combat and exploration flow naturally together, with enemies integrated into terrain-based challenges rather than isolated encounters. Special transformations further deepen gameplay by altering movement and utility, letting you switch playstyles on the fly to solve puzzles or access hard-to-reach areas. The structure balances open-ended exploration with clear objectives, keeping progression satisfying without losing focus. Storytelling remains light but purposeful, centering on Donkey Kong's journey through mysterious underground layers while helping Pauline, who also plays an active role through music-based abilities and optional co-op support. Cuphead is a tightly designed 2D action experience built around precision, memorization, and relentless boss encounters that test both reflexes and patience. The gameplay blends classic run-and-gun platforming with intense, pattern-driven boss fights where movement, shooting, dodging, and timing are equally important, creating a constant push and pull between offense and survival. Levels alternate between side-scrolling stages filled with enemies and hazards and large-scale boss battles that unfold in multiple phases, each introducing new attack patterns to learn and counter. A key mechanic is the parry system, which rewards skilled players for interacting with specific enemy attacks to build a super meter used for powerful special moves, adding a high-risk, high-reward layer to combat. Players can equip different weapons and charms that subtly change playstyle, encouraging experimentation rather than brute force. The story serves as a simple but effective backdrop, following Cuphead and Mugman as they attempt to reclaim stolen soul contracts after a disastrous gamble with the devil, introducing a lineup of bizarre, memorable bosses along the way. Absolum blends classic side-scrolling beat-em-up combat with modern roguelite structure, delivering an experience that feels both familiar and constantly evolving. Gameplay centers on fluid, combo-driven brawling, where light and heavy attacks chain together smoothly, supported by dodges, counters, and powerful arcana abilities that add depth and rhythm to every encounter. Players choose from multiple heroes, each with distinct combat styles and strengths, encouraging experimentation and mastery rather than a one-size-fits-all approach. Levels are built around branching paths and shifting enemy encounters, ensuring no two runs play out the same, while rituals and passive upgrades acquired mid-run let you shape your build and adapt to new challenges on the fly. Defeat sends you back to a central hub rather than ending progression, allowing you to unlock upgrades, abilities, and narrative threads that steadily expand your options over time. The story unfolds organically through dialogue and world building, framing your journey as a rebellion against the oppressive Sun King Azra, whose crusade against magic has fractured the land and driven mages into exile. And that's the list, 20 incredible Switch games that everyone needs to experience at least once. Each one brings something unique to the table and will give you memories that last way beyond the credits. If this video helped you discover your next favorite game, hit that like button and subscribe to Switch Top for more Switch content. Until next time.